day 2 of FinTech Americas 2026. And of course, we continue having conversations with the people that are leaders in the FinTech and that are actually bringing important changes to the complete ecosystem. But right now, I'm sitting here with Filipe. He is the founder and the CEO of AltermAInd. He's actually Portuguese-born, long based in Italy. So he's visiting us from Europe all the way here to Miami. And he has nearly 20 years of experience in technology, leading digital transformation, cloud, and AI programs. So it's going to be a very interesting conversation with you, Filipe. Thank you for sitting here.
Thank you for this evening.
Well, let's start with the basics. Can you please share with the audience a little bit more about AltermAInd?
So AltermAInd, we are a European-based company, and our purpose is very simple. We aim to rethink, to redesign, to reimagine every process inside the organization through AI. What we are living right now in AI is absolutely incredible. It's really the cognitive delegation, but you're defining the relationship between humans and machine. And so our goal is to help companies, to help banks, to reinvent the organization through AI.
Wow. Interesting. So, Filipe, many banks are experimenting with AI, but very few are scaling it safely. What is the biggest gap that you believe exists between what is experimentation and the real deployment in financial institutions today?
So let me say what we are seeing now for 3 years is that technology for LLM models are evolving at a pace but is incredibly fast, and humans need more time to be close to the evolution of technology. So what we have seen maybe 3 years ago, everybody was talking mainly about OpenAI and ChatGPT. But if we look at what's as the explosion of new models and new realities that have popped up on the markets, you have seen how much technology is evolving really, really fast. As humans, it's a shift, but it takes time for us. Because if we see at what happened over the last 20 years, through IT on the automation of process, internet, connecting people, mobile, giving the capability to humans to interact with machines anytime, everywhere. This one, AI, is really to rely on machine for intelligence, for cognitive. So the first and biggest gap that I'm seeing on financial institutions is change management, upskilling the people, redesigning from scratch how we are supposed to interact with the machine. So one is change management, upskilling, helping people, employees, to redesign the interaction with machines. And second one is that we need to review our process, our systems, our operating models to control the AI and the models and the agents that will raise on the institution. So going from experimentation to at-scale adoption, the first challenge is human. How I position myself toward the machine.
Wow. Very interesting. You have not seen from that perspective. Now, AI agents are often described as the digital employees, right? In highly regulated industries, talking about fintech, talking about banks, what needs to be in place before organizations can truly trust the autonomous system?
So, to reach this goal, we need to go back at the core. And we need to break the wheel on an interaction between humans and machine. I'm a tech guy and I'm passionate about technology and about business models and about banks. But so far, when we're talking about software, people were programming software. So that means when I was implementing software, I know exactly the output that was coming on from the machine. LLM models are probabilistic. So you need to control differently this kind of implementation on AI when everything is in place today. We are not anymore programming software. You are designing intent of the machine. And so machine that can be autonomous, they can take decisions. And if the organization wants, they can take actions. So the way we monitor software, the way we monitor organization requires that we redefine this in order to monitor agents. So it's change management, and it is reviewing the architecture of the organization in the way that we don't lose control of the machines. Otherwise, what we have seen in Terminator or other
Please,
famous,
let's not get there.
famous movies, we cannot lose the control of his models, of course.
Yes, I've been listening a lot to this term in Spanish, gobernanza.
Yeah.
Because first it was like, okay, there's data. Like, how do we implement this data with the AI? Garbage in, garbage out. But then now it's like, how do we keep AI secure? The data within, that we are, using to even like, have these agents kind of like help the customer better.
But let me just add one point. So I absolutely agree that AI agents will be digital workers. So digital workers, it's a digital employee. Right now, so in some years, you will have AI employees and human employees.
Yes.
And they are completely different when you are managing these guys, this kind of employees. Humans, we work 5 days a week. We can work 8, 9, 10 hours.
We need coffee.
We need coffee. We need emotional, let's say, environment to work on the organization. We have a salary. So we have KPIs and outputs that are human-based. Digital workers, they don't have salaries. They have cost computation. They don't have time of work, so they can work 24/7. They can be measured by outputs, how many volumes of complexity they are managing. So we need to redefine the operating model inside the organization to be ready to have people that are working with AI employees and digital and human employees. And even on our role inside the organization, and this is very crucial. Today, maybe we have engineers, we have salespeople that have a career path for the technology that is existing today. But tomorrow we have digital workers that are doing maybe half of the work you are doing today. You need to redesign the career path, the ambitions for the people that are emerging new kind of roles inside organizations.
Ara, from your perspective, what do AI agents create the most immediate value when it comes to like financial services today? Let's talk about productivity, decision making, customer experience. What do you see the most value added by the AI agents?
So I believe that the value added of using AI inside the organization has a correlation with the learning curve of the human being on using AI. So I believe it follows exactly this part: productivity, decision making, and then customer value. Productivity, because on all organization, we are making people, human, working on some tasks that are very, very boring, but can be automated, but are maybe just extracting information from documents or correlating data. And this is productivity. And this AI today is ready for that. So these are the simple things that we can start on these simple things, and they can bring huge value for the bank, because they can reallocate people on strategic and more important tasks and delegate to the machine what is repetition of tasks. Then decision making. Everyone that is using today like tools like Claude, OpenAI or Gemini, correlating data, the machine doesn't have bias. They just look at the numbers without emotions. And so when you're looking at data and correlating the data without bias, so decision making, in my opinion, in my experience, more than 90% of the time, the conclusion from the machine is more accurate from the human. The last 10% that are lacking and where human is better than the machine is what makes us human. It's intuition, it's emotions, it's what makes us human. And say maybe this data, the machine can think it is better, but you don't have the intuition. So maybe sometimes going against the model and doing what the machine is telling you to do from humans, it's what makes the difference.
So great. Now, there's a lot of discussions about AI replacing jobs. Could you talk a little bit about that? Now, when it comes to finance, in reality, what does the collaboration between the human experts, and in this case, the AI agents and the AI systems, look like inside, for example, like a bank, an institution like it? Looking ahead, even like in the next 3 years, I know that you mentioned, we want to be in control. We want to try to, you didn't use the word control, but you were like, you don't want to end up like a Terminator. We definitely need to be on top of, these AI agents. Where do you see technology is going to take the relationship between the AI agents and that final customer? Like looking ahead in the next 3 years, how do you see that instead of being AI replacing humans, the collaboration within the finance institution?
So, financial institutions are the backbone of the economy. And we have seen it many times over the last 20 years. If the financial institutions go down, the economy of the countries go down. So it's a backbone. It's a crucial backbone for every country in the world, even cross-country. So it will replace jobs, but it will create new jobs. So and I think for human beings, it's a positive aspect. We don't want human beings to do repetitive and boring tasks from old every day. So this can be delegated to the machine. And you will have new jobs. Let me give some examples. I told you as an example before that today banks, when they look at their systems and they look at operating models, it's a deterministic approach. So I'm using a system and I know what would be the outcome. This agent's AI is able to reason, is able to think, is able to take decisions. So the interaction is not about the human saying to the machine, does this task, but it will switch to, what do you think of that? And so it requires us to control the machine and to review our position towards the machine. So you will have maybe less jobs on operations, less jobs on selling, but you have more jobs on intent designers, people that are thinking their position with AI and say, oh, wait, I want you to work on these aspects. I will give you the prompts and I will give also the prompt to control you, but what you are doing is correct. And so people will work on designing intent of the machine and how to control the intent of the machine. And this is very important, never losing the concept of human in the loop. So never trust the machine 100%. It always needs a validation of humans because the organization cannot lose the control of human beings. Machines and models, they cannot be legally responsible for a mistake for the models. If you are a bank and you are using models and you're using agents, it's your responsibility that every outcome from the machine is correct because legally you are the owner of what the customer will see.
You are the owner of what the customer receives. What a very eye-opening conversation, Filipe.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sitting here with me in FinTech Americas 2026. I can't wait to see this interview next year before I interview you again here in FinTech Americas 2027. And I'll be like, wow, how much are we continuing to evolve? And I'm glad to see you as one of the leaders of, the changes that we're seeing in the financial institutions. But for now, thank you. Enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you very much. We'll be back. Thank you.